Hey guys, it's me, Aspie Lauren. This is where one of my other videos that I'm going to do for my video series on autism for YouTube. In this video series, I want to talk about my experiences with autism as briefly as possible. And okay, I grew up in an era where autism was rarely even recognized, and it was considered to be a rare condition, especially the high functioning type. I grew up in an area of eastern Kentucky that was highly religious. I was born in 1981. To both my parents, they were very hardworking family, and they're religious family, and they're still together to this day. It's highly unusual for autism, but oh well. My mom was a full-time nurse at one of our local hospitals, and my dad was a stake worker, and they worked long hours to provide for my younger sister and I. And when they were working, we stayed with my grandmother. Well, okay, so what does that have to do with autism awareness? Well, resources were limited when I was young. We didn't have, like I was, as y'all know that we didn't have internet back then. We didn't have a library in our town. My grandmother couldn't drive, so we couldn't go anywhere that had a library. And the nearest library was over in Ashland, and there was a library over in Louisa too. Well, it was impossible. I guess you can say my symptoms started right around the typical age, right around 2. I had a series of ear and throat infections when I was young, and it kind of started over that, but it didn't, but that wasn't the cause of it. And I also had a series of urinary tract infections, and that led to me being on a series of rounds and rounds and rounds of antibiotics. And well, I had a tonsil and adenoidectomy when I was 4 years old, and they put tubes in my ears too. I had all of the major symptoms of autism. My main symptoms that I have experienced from day one are stimming when I'm upset. As you can see, here's my fingers, they're swollen, and I use wearing my fingers a lot, and I chew on pencils a lot when I'm upset. I've had a few academic challenges, even though I'm highly intelligent about other things, and I'm book smart. I suffered from severe separation anxiety all through elementary school, and that was my biggest issue in elementary school, and it was very challenging to deal with. And no matter what I did, I felt like I couldn't rationalize with myself. Some of the social things, but those are my biggies, and I had a few of the other issues too. But luckily, I was pretty much able to overcome a lot. I learned how to drive when I was 16 and got my license when I was 17, and I've been driving ever since. And I graduated high school in 1999, and since high school, I have earned a cosmetology degree and a university studies degree. And I earned them from Kentucky Christian University, my university studies degree in 2011, and in 2002, which is 9 years earlier, I earned my cosmetology license. And I've had trouble keeping down jobs no matter what I've done, and I feel like, and it's all because of my Asperger syndrome and / autism. Okay, so let me ask you want to know, well, how did I get diagnosed? Well, my mom knew something was wrong with me from the get-go. In kindergarten, she told me she went over and talked to my pediatrician, and the pediatrician didn't believe her, and she was, even though he knew that she was worried, he just dismissed her. But then she talked to my family doctor, and that was her, talked to our other doctor, that was our doctor friend that she worked with at the hospital. Well, he got us in at Cleveland Clinic, and he sent him a long list of letters, and he sent all my records and all that from all the doctors I'd seen. And they got me in January of 1987 when I was in kindergarten, and that team of doctors up there that I saw, they diagnosed me with what was then known as pervasive developmental disorder, and they questioned schizoid disorder. And when Asperger's was introduced into the diagnostic criteria, 1994, I was given that diagnosis. And has the treatment been easy? No. Does that mean that I've had it? Does that mean that I've always been as good as I am today? No. Well, okay. So what happens next is, when I got to high school, I went to see a new psychiatrist, and she just put me on a lot of medication. I personally didn't feel like that helped me, even though it may help someone else. And my goal in making these videos is to educate and empower others with autism spectrum disorders to listen to their doctors, but yet at the same time take advantage of their health and just put their health first and foremost, and be proactive in their health. And the same goes for the caregivers too. So what's different about autism now versus when I was diagnosed? Well, for one thing, I think that there is more awareness of it and better treatment options, and I think that's a good thing, and I hope that it continues. The other option is something I don't necessarily agree with. I think that it's trendy to diagnose it. Doctors are diagnosing it now because it's trendy. And I asked my mom if doctors tended to do that with other things in medical issues, and she said yes. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Okay. Well, let me say something else. I want to say something about my issues concerning the MMR. Does it cause autism? That's already been ruled out, but I will tell you my perspective on the MMR. I believe that it can trigger autism in some individuals, and that parents need to separate their child's shots, because it's not good for them to have that many shots in their body all at once. And then another thing, to give your body time to heal, don't take your child and have their MMR when they have any type of illness going on. You need to wait until that's gone. That could offset something too. I believe that autism is genetic, that there's some genes available for it. They told my mom that when she took me to Cleveland Clinic when I was little, that it was somehow genetic. Well, okay. That's all I have to say for right now, but I do want to mention another thing about the MMR. Temple Grandin and Dr. Stephen Shore are autism advocates that have autism and that have made their living helping others with autism and with treatment for autism, and they did not receive the MMR. They were born, Temple was born in 1948 and Dr. Shore was born in the 1960s, and the MMR was not made available until the late 1970s. So I'm just saying, guys, thank you for listening, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel as I plan to make more videos. Thanks, bye.